Alright, welcome to another No BS Photo Success workflow tutorial. This is an image that I took last week, and I just used window light coming in from the left. I have in my studio shooting space, I have pretty large windows, so I just draped some material in the background, some white cloth, and I used my window on the left, and I just brought in some big white reflectors on the right just to fill in the shadows. So I'm briefly just going to show you, actually I shouldn't say briefly, I'm actually going to go through the workflow of this image and what I think I'd like to do to it. It is a very high key image, so I would like to see it soft. I'd like to see, a little bit of the skin tones muted, maybe a bronzing color or something. And with the background here, I'd like to maybe just kind of blur this just a bit more, remove some of the stray away hairs. I'll probably push in the shoulder here because I have the shoulder blade sticking out a bit. I'll clone this stuff out too with the clone tool, and do a Haji soft and step mount it, and we'll see what we got. So the very first thing is, again, I'm just going to do a defog, so filter. Actually, what I'm going to do so that things will go just a little bit faster with this is I'm just going to downsize this image just for the tutorial's sake, just to show you. Um, so it goes a little bit faster with my processing. So I'm just going to do a defog, so filter sharpen on sharp mask, and we'll go 2060. There, so you can, again, I do this to all my images. It is the first step that I do. Now I'm just going to clone this stuff out. I'm not going to workflow the skin tones or the contrast just yet. I did shoot this with a Canon 5D and believe it was an 85mm f1.8 or 70 to 200 2.8. I can't really remember. So I am going to just use the clone stamp just to remove all this. I'm not going to go into, I'm not going to make sure it's very precise. I am going to blur that corner out. I'm actually going to blur the background a little bit more. So I'm just going to nicely just kind of remove it just a bit, 100% opacity. There, just like that. Now I'm going to go in with lighten and a low opacity and a soft, smaller brush. And I'm just going to go in and do some of the face here. A little bit of shadow underneath the eye. Let's bring this up to about 23. Perfect. Now I'm just going to go under normal because I am going to soften this quite a bit. And I'm just going to go through and just take some stuff out, put some stuff in. I'm just going to even out. Booster shot scar here, so I'm just going to go through that. Now, on 100% opacity, I am going to just remove some of these stray away hairs here. But I am going to leave some just because it's the way her hair is. And I think now with the clone stamp in darken mode, I'm going to go in and just kind of fill in this just a bit. So we'll go to darken. And we'll just fill in that just a bit. Perfect. Now the shadow in the neck here, I'm going to just take that out a bit too. Perfect. Now let's go into the liquify tool And I'm just going to push this in a bit. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a selection. And I'm going to just go about here. Actually, what we'll do, I'm going to have it just come around there like this. Then we'll go filter, liquefy. What the selection does is, I probably should have reversed that first, which I did not. So let me just go back and inverse that. Not that. There we go. Now what that is all this spot is frozen. I'm just going to work with this here. So I'm just going to very quickly just go in and play around with my liquefy tool. Now again, I'm also going to apply a softening to this. So we'll soften up those edges. We'll bring it back up nice and big. Let's see what we got here. Now, if we look back in the history, that'll do. That'll do. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean this up. I'm just going to remove that down there. Go normal with clone stamp. Have a tight brush. Right about here to about here. And I'll just remove that. Perfect. Now I'm just going to blur some of this actually while I'm still on the clone stamp. Just go in and clean up just a little bit more of this hair here. There we go. And I'm going to use I like using my smudge tool right here. And you just go in and just kind of smudge some of the leading lines coming in. Usually try to follow the direction that the lines are already going. Now mind you, at a full res file, this will take just a little bit longer. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit more.